Hi all, it's another gone kayaking adventure, this time Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. You'll be seeing some kayaks, an aeroplane, some birds and a fort. The story all begins some weeks before this, where I made contact with Mauro Franco of the Clube Carioca de Canoagem in Rio. The arrangement was to meet here, Praia Urca, 6 AM sharp, right on sunrise, to meet the Kayaking Club, quite literally in the shadow of the Pau de Açúcar or Sugarloaf mountain. So here we can see the kayaks and right on cue, meet Mauro. So we're straight on to the main task, we get the boats out, we're heading off the beach. And the first thing you see is how you really can't overstate the spectacular scenery and landscapes around Rio. So the first thing you see is this view of the Corcovado, which is the big hill on the horizon there, where the big Jesus, the Cristo Redentor statue, looks out over Rio. I flopped out my camera on the phone because the 360 doesn't do it justice. A quick pan round in this morning sunlight. You'll notice also these Hawaiian boats are quite a big hit in Rio. We'll see more as we go around on this trip. So on with it. Sugarloaf there in the sunlight above the shadows. So slow bimble initially, we're waiting for a couple others to catch up from the beach. Mauro in the meantime was explaining where we're going, which he's pointing out Niterói area, which is across the other side of the bay there. And just a general chat of what we're likely to see along the way. So Mauro chose the perfect day for this. We've got really calm conditions, just out having a good old talk and enjoying the scenery, the weather, the warmth, nice warm water as well. Quite a treat. If you've ever flown into Rio, it's probably you've gone into Galeão, which is the main international airport. Though there's also Santos Dumont, which is right in the city. And the approach to that, they do a handbrake turn right round Pau de Açúcar there, and then land right in the city. And then I think it's full brakes and reverses to actually try and stop before they land in the water. But it's quite cool to see from a kayak. So we make our way away from the city and we see more and more boats, some fishing boats, I guess some diving boats, a little bit of all sorts going on. We'll have a little pan round here and you get your first glimpse at the Laje fort, Forte de Laje. The very distinctive gantry sort of thing hanging off the side of it makes it very easy to spot. So another view of it there, right in the sunrise. We're surrounded by these birds, pretty cool, no idea what they were. Probably the same pterodactyls I saw in Colombia. As we come up close to the fort, you can see there's almost no features on this seaward side. It's really exposed here. As we saw through this gap here, there's some big swell coming through from the open Atlantic. You can imagine in a storm, this thing takes a right beating. So looking back over the shoulder, you can just see Corcovado off my left shoulder and Pau de Açúcar off the right. And the island further on the left of the screen is Cotunduba. There wasn't time on this day to get out to the island. There's loads of little islands off there which were all within striking distance in a kayak. So definitely an excuse to get back and have a good look at some of those. So we're soon across the entrance to the bay, and this is now Forte Santa Cruz, or the Holy Cross Fort, on the east side of the bay entrance. It's worth noting it's a bay, as the Portuguese called it, Rio de Janeiro, before realising it's not actually a Rio. Of course I wouldn't dream of taking the mick. We're coming up now on one of the local fishermen, so there's lots of these small boats as we got out of the open water and into the more sheltered areas. Mauro was saying it's worth keeping clear of these guys because some of them have probably been up all night fishing and now ready for bed. So the 360 resolution let me down a little bit here again as before, but we were talking about some of the houses you can see through the gap there in the two mountains, which apparently is the edge of a favela, which it shows some of the contrasts you see here in Rio with some of this gorgeous scenery, and you've got the favela right there, which has got to be something akin to having a favela in Henley-on-Thames. The same can be seen on the Copacabana and the Ipanema beaches, where you see the favelas really close to the beach, and you genuinely see the poorest rubbing shoulders with the richest people in the city on the beach there. So we're now well and truly on the Niterói side of the bay. You can see some of the city there. Again, the 360 lets you down a little bit, but there is a modern art museum there just by the front of Mauro's boat, which looks like a UFO. There are also some shipyards over this side of the bay, which during the working hours I will be back to visit. So as we come around the bay now, we're coming into this small community, I guess slightly removed from the Niterói main part there, and we're coming into this small private beach, which is actually Jurujubá. And what you can see just beyond there's a yacht club. There's actually the edge of the favela that we saw from the other side as well. So again, these contrasts with the yacht club, the favela right beside each other, it's quite striking contrast. And all beside this beautiful little bay, which is quite isolated, white sandy beach. There are unfortunately signs of pretty dirty water and a little bit of rubbish in the water, because the tidal range is really low here, and so it doesn't really give time for the bay to flush with the tide. So sadly you do see the impact of that in the water quality. I'm told, however, that there are now efforts to improve that water quality and try and change some attitudes to what to do with your rubbish, and that's obviously a long-term project, but hopefully we'll start to see some improvements as time goes by. So I'm checking out all the little shells on the beach. The other guys are just parking up, and we soon head away from the beach and have a little look around. Such a gorgeous little area. Little footpaths that head on. There's a little picnic area there. Token palm tree, just to remind you it's tropical and warm. And a look back at where we've landed. It's amazing, it's lovely. Around the corner, another little look at this community area. More tiny hidden beaches. Fishing boats parked up and going out. A quick pan around all the boats parked up. These are Eclipse kayaks, which are manufactured in Brazil. They're all fiberglass. They feel like really good boats actually. They're quite good specifications. They're quite light from what you see on their website. I didn't actually weigh all of them. The outfitting's quite simple, but generally I'm impressed. They do the trick well. Well built. Exploration, boat spotting and gossiping now complete. We're back on the way again, heading back out. You can see a surf ski here heading across the bay. And you might have caught a little glimpse of one of these Hawaiian boats pulling up on the beach just as we were pulling away. We're basically retracing our steps as we go back out. More Hawaiian boats coming in towards the beach behind us here. And I was duly informed one of our team here ran into a turtle, but sadly he was gone before I got the camera sorted out, which was a shame. Another one of these Hawaiian style boats. There really are loads of these. I imagine that's quite a good, rapid and powerful way to get around the bay when the weather's good. As we come around the corner, we're straight back to that view again, so I've flopped out my phone for my high resolution footage. Which look like this. So again, your Sugarloaf. Corcovado is the sawtooth jagged one to the right of my nose. We'll stow the phone and get on with the job. So the view across the bay speaks for itself, but a quick detour, if you know your voyage, this one's isolated danger, a little detour to go around it purely because it's there. There's no danger visible when you look on the charts. There is a shallower part there. What is visible though are the seabirds sitting on it, and they've clearly done a lot of pooing, so that's nice. We're soon back at the Laje fort, and this time we go to the north side of it, so we get a decent look at this gantry entrance affair. It's the sheltered side this time, you don't have the swells bashing against it. Get in a bit closer. A little bit of boat on boat action. And here's your gantry, with yet another Sugarloaf shot behind it. You can't get enough of those. Make out the name above the door, and really that's the only feature, is that small landing area and the doorways. Other than that, it's just bare walls with a smooth surface, not much of a feature to see. Sign saying it's a military area, keep clear, not allowed on it, which I don't know if people do or not. We didn't, but would be interesting to have a proper look around. Really is such a distinctive outline though. See a bit of swell still coming over the rocks at the end. It was almost tempting for a surf, but it wasn't really quite steep enough. Unless you try and get really intimate with the rocks, which it's a bit much in someone else's boat. Mauro was close by most of the time. It's giving me a good commentary, telling me what the features and sights are as we go. So I couldn't keep notes, and the microphone struggled to pick up a lot of what was being said. But we're soon back across the bay, retracing the steps back along that coast into the Kayaking. Following in close, some sort of structure here, remnants thereof. The sign's basically saying it's a military area, stay 200 metres off. I sort of didn't, but I didn't have a tape measure, so I couldn't really say whether I was or not near enough. Meanwhile, me sightseeing, turns out I'm getting in everyone's way. Oops. Nice shot, Brazilian flag, Sugarloaf, lots of kayaks. What more can you ask? Quick pan around with the 360, and what a view. Just amazing. Cracking day. Got to have lots of colour. And before you know it, we're back into Kayaking, where we started from. You can see the kayaks to the right of the big building. Final gossip as we come in, the sun's well and truly up. You may just make out one of the cable cars on the way up to the top of the Sugarloaf mountain there. And we've made it right back to the start. Really can't thank Mauro enough for his time, his efforts to organise this, to spot the weather, the communication, and of course the loan of the boat and the kit, which is very difficult to carry on an international flight. So while I wiggle out of the boat and double check that I can still stand up, let's have a few words from Mauro and the team.
Valeu, galera do CCC, hoje trouxemos aí o Darren, diretamente da Inglaterra, intercâmbio, Inglaterra CCC. Viemos aqui no morcego para ele conhecer essa beleza.
Yeah, perfeito para queimar. And in the format we've all become accustomed to, here we go. This is the GPS track. So wider view showing Rio and the route largely east to west across the bay entrance with a zoomed in view. So you can see the Pau de Açúcar, you can see the Cristo Redentor for reference of where we are. The Ilha Cotunduba, the island just outside the coast. And ultimately where we landed before turning around at Jurujuba. All up, this was 11 Ks and just over 2 hours. As mentioned, it would be great to get back with more time and get out and see some of those islands, get around some, land on some, more to explore. As always, stay with us, keep watching, we've got loads more footage to bring out, and I also have lots more plans of things to do, places to see.